Here's something strange about money. Two people can earn almost the exact same amount, same job, same paycheck, same city, and 10 years later, one of them has options, savings, freedom, a cushion, and the other is still one bad month away from panic. And the difference usually isn't discipline. It isn't even income. It's something quieter than that. It's how their brain handles time. Because the people who quietly build wealth aren't gritting their teeth harder than you. They're not born with some willpower gene. They just relate to the future in a completely different way. And once you can see how they do it, you can start doing it too. So let me show you the 4 shifts. The last one is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's the one that actually makes the rest work. Start with the strangest one. Shift 1, they treat their future self as a real person. There's a researcher named Hal Hershfield who put people in a brain scanner and asked them to think about themselves today, then think about a stranger, and then think about themselves in 10 years. And here's the unsettling part. For a lot of people, thinking about their future self lit up the brain almost the same way as thinking about a stranger. Sit with that for a second. On some deep level, your brain files you in 10 years under someone else. And of course, you won't sacrifice for a stranger. Why would you skip something you want now to hand money to some blurry person you don't even feel connected to? People who build wealth have, on purpose or by accident, closed that gap. Future, them isn't a stranger. It's them. So saving doesn't feel like a loss. It feels like mailing a gift to someone they actually love. Same action, completely different feeling. And that feeling is the whole game, which leads straight into the second shift. Because there's a reason that stranger feels so easy to ignore. Shift 2, they know the now brain lies about value. Your brain runs on a very old setting. A reward you can have right now feels enormous. The exact same reward later feels faint and small. Researchers call it present bias, and it's not a character flaw. It's wiring. For most of human history, take the food now, beat, wait, and maybe lose it. But that setting quietly wrecks modern money decisions. 50 euros today can feel more real than 500 euros next year. Your brain shrinks the future on purpose. You felt this. It's the upgrade you didn't need but bought anyway because it was right there. It's only $9.99 a month that quietly becomes $120 a year you never think about. Each one feels tiny and reasonable in the moment because the moment is exactly what your brain overvalues. The cost is spread out in the faint, faraway future, so it barely registers at all. Here's the shift. Wealth-building brains don't trust that feeling. When now screams that something is worth it, they've learned to pause and quietly ask, is this actually worth it, or does it just feel loud because it's close? They treat the urgency itself as a bias to check, not a truth to obey. They're not more disciplined in the moment. They just stop believing the volume knob. And here's the thing I really want you to notice, because this is where most advice gets it exactly backwards. Shift 3, they reframe waiting as buying something, not losing something. Most people experience saving as a little death. You want the thing, and you don't let yourself have it, and it feels like pure subtraction, loss, missing out. But watch how a wealth-building brain frames the same moment. They're not losing the purchase. They're buying something else with that money, something invisible but real. They're buying freedom, options, the ability to say no to a job they hate, a quiet mind at 2 a.m. when the car breaks down and it's just fine. Every euro they keep is a tiny brick in a wall between them and panic. That's not nothing. That's the most valuable thing money can actually buy, and it never shows up in a shopping bag. Quick gut check while we're here. What's one thing you almost bought this month and didn't? Did skipping it actually feel like losing, or did it feel a little bit like winning? Hold that thought, because that reframe changes everything. When waiting feels like losing, every day is a battle you slowly lose. When waiting feels like buying freedom, it feels good. It feels like power, and nobody needs willpower to do something that already feels like winning. Which brings us to the last shift. And honestly, this is the one that makes all the others survivable. Shift 4, they don't rely on willpower. They shrink the weight. You've probably heard of the marshmallow test. Kids in a room, 1 marshmallow now, or 2 if they wait. And for years, the story was the kids who waited had more willpower, and they did better in life. Simple, inspiring. Kind of a lie, because when researchers looked again more carefully, a lot of that willpower turned out to be something else entirely. The kids who waited often came from stable homes where a promise actually meant something, where waiting had always paid off. It wasn't superhuman self-control, it was trust built by an environment. And that is strangely freeing because it means the answer was never become the kind of person with iron willpower. The answer is build the environment. Wealth-building brains almost never white-knuckle their way to saving. They set it up so the saving happens on its own, money moving the second the paycheck lands, before the now brain even wakes up and starts negotiating. They don't win the fight against temptation every single day. They just quietly arrange their life so the fight barely happens. That's the secret hiding under all four. It was never really about being tougher than everyone else. It's about seeing time clearly and then setting things up so the clear choice is also the easy one. So look at the four together. Make your future self a real person so saving feels like a gift instead of a loss. Distrust the now brain when it screams. Reframe waiting as buying freedom, not missing out, and stop relying on willpower. Shrink the weight with systems so the right move happens by default. None of that requires a bigger income. It requires a different relationship with time, and that you can actually change. If any of this reframes something for you, you'll like the rest of this series. It's all right here. Every piece of how your brain quietly runs your money, one video at a time. Subscribe and keep going because the next one builds directly on this. Your future self, the real one, will be very glad you did.